Hello, 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 beautiful people. Hello, welcome to RFD Talk. We are super excited. It's Monday again. Welcome, beautiful people. We are excited. It's Monday night. Welcome, welcome, beautiful people, to the RFD Talk. We are super excited. And for who do not know who I am Robin F. David. I am the executive producer of RFD Talk. I am a speaker. I am a certified life coach. I am an author, best-selling Amazon author. I am the CEO of Golden Foundation. So if you don't know who I am now, I just introduced myself to you. So welcome to this Monday. And I'm super excited to my new listeners and to my former listeners who already know all those things about me. But I'm super excited because this is the first Monday in June and we have our co-host, and she's in the green room and she's all fired up today, looking all gorgeous. I can see her from here smiling and ready to share with us. I just want to share something a little bit to you guys. It's been an honor being co-host with Takisa. Takisa is a woman of great wisdom, and she's been with us for the last 3 months. So if you haven't seen the replays, I invite you to go back. It's at the top of each month, the last 3 months, and capture her greatness. If you don't get all the information that she has shared with us, you can go back to the replays. In other words, there's a lot of wisdom that this lady is bringing to us here at the RFD Talk Show, and we're honored to have her. And I have been so blessed to have her co-host with me the first Mondays of the month. So before we get into that, I'm not going to hold y'all long. I just definitely got to do my thankfulness to my sponsors, my definite consistent sponsors, my continued sponsors who have been really um, valuable to RFD Talk. Shave Me Down Handmade Body Butter, and you can find Shave Me Down there on Facebook. If you're a Facebook viewer, it's right there on Facebook. And also, you can order you some Shave Me Down. You can email her, or you can go to her Facebook page and inquire more information about the fragrances. And I am a big fan of it. I use it every day, and it keeps my skin glowing and healthy and happy. But then we have another amazing sponsor. Definitely want to shout her out and her business, and it's Majestic Elegance Candle and Company, which is a soy-based candle, and it has a wick, a wooden wick, and it burns slow, and it's really nice. It kind of makes you feel like you have a fireplace burning. You hear the little crinkling sounds, so it's really nice. It can be romantic, it can be relaxing, it can be invigorating. So definitely want to check that website out, which is livemajestic.com. And then also, I want to invite you, YouTube viewers, to subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're on Facebook, I could use your support. Share this stream. I'm super excited. Can't wait to hear what our guest is going to tell me. Not my guest, because she's not my guest. She's my co-host. So our co-host, she has amazing information tonight. So you definitely want to share this with other business women that you may know that wants to grow their business and thrive in business and leave a legacy. So our topic tonight is let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And I want to say what's your end result for your game. And the CEO host will explain it better than I did. I may have messed that all up, Takisa, but I'm going to bring you right on. But I also want to invite you all to please leave comments. Comments for Takisa tonight will be very, very helpful. So we'll know that we're helping you in the community. Here in Nashville, you all mean so much to us. And all over the world, all of our viewers from all over the world, we have viewers. Oh, someone can't hear. Somebody can't hear me. So just a second. Thank you for letting me know that you can't hear me. I have to see if my volume is on. Just a second. Thank you. Can you this is on. Is our volume on? Hey, I'm checking to see if the volume is on over here for the viewers that's on YouTube. I'm not sure. I have someone saying that. Is that light on over there on the stage? Okay, so we have that on. Let me see if I turn the volume up. If that'll help with the volume is up. Not sure.
Bring me on. Okay. Hey, I think she's just saying can't wait to hear either. She's not saying she can't hear.
Thank you for reading that better for me. So yeah, thank you. She's on. We're excited. But before we go into you, definitely have to say one thing before. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. This is my beautiful co-host. Look at her, y'all. Just give her a round of her hand. Woo!
Thank you
for coming tonight. We're super excited. Oh, thank you, Jasper. I'm sorry. I got excited. I was just telling me. So excited sometimes, guys. I just be like, I be coming here praying and saying, God, why am I so excited? But I get excited, guys, when I'm sharing with other people. Every Monday, this is like this is what I look forward to going through. But I also wanted to, of course, we got to have people call in. If you want to call in, I want to say that real quick, Takisha, which is 615-227-1470. And then one other thing, we always want to know, what did the Lord say? I wore my t-shirt today. I gotta tell y'all, what did the Lord say? The Lord said, you see my t-shirt, guys? I love the t-shirt. It's just what did the Lord say? And the person that made this t-shirt is online. Her name is Jasmine. Jasmine, which is my oldest daughter. Thank you for this beautiful t-shirt. What did the Lord say? And the Lord said, I have to share. I'm about to try to share that with you. But the Lord said to me before we go into our segment, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. And that is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And I had asked God, I was like, what are you saying to me tonight for this week? I know as a country and as the United States, we have faced a lot of different uncomfortable events have been happening rapidly across the world. And I know in all different types of uncomfortable things have been happening. But the Lord said to trust in him with all thine heart. And that's what I have for you today. So that's it. Now, let's get into the show. Let's talk about it. Takisha, tell me about, I got another guest coming. I just talked to her, which is Lakeisha. And I sometimes I get tongue.
Oh, you're fine.
Because she's coming on the show this month too. And I had just a message to her and I was like, I got to get my Takishas and Lakeishas right. Takisha, please introduce yourself and you have the floor.
Okay. Hi, I'm Takisa Bromell with Girl Friday Business Solutions. We are a virtual executive assistant business, and we help people in the back office and making sure that CEOs and C-suite professionals have a person to use to help them in their with their paperwork and everything. And so that's what we do. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what is your end game? And I'm going to explain why that's important. I think that by understanding where you want to be at the end of your career, when you start to do your and decide that you want to retire, should then speak into what you're doing right now. And let me tell you kind of like a reason why I want to talk about this, and it's really on my heart. Okay, I just turned 50 a couple of weeks ago, May 3rd. And right before that, and I want to say, and probably right after that, I started to kind of like, I don't know if it's not a midlife crisis, because I don't believe in that it was a crisis. It was more me questioning myself. As you kind of get older, you start to think about like, okay, the things that you're doing, does it make sense? Are you doing the right things? Where are you going? How fast are you going to get there? Because you realize that there's a part of your life that you want to probably retire and relax and enjoy where you are and enjoy the fruits of your labor. And so most people start thinking about that start to kind of like transition to that at 65. I would love to transition to that at 60. I would love to kind of like be able to kind of like speed up and then start to slow down as I get to 60 years old, and then really take some time to enjoy life completely. So as I was talking about that, I met someone, and she was at this event, and we were celebrating that she was now starting to kind of like do some kind of like some work with businesses and things like that. And one of the things that she said was that about mental health, and so mental health was one of the things that she talked about, and understanding how to kind of like work through that when you're an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship can be lonely, exhausting, and tiresome. And then the other thing that she said was having an exit plan, having your exit strategy so that you know where you're going and what you're doing. And so when she said that, she was where I want to be in 10 years. She's already retired. She sold her business or whatever. She's already retired now. And she just looked so happy with her life. She had done her life's work. And it wasn't that she wasn't still doing other things, but she could choose what she wanted to do. She don't have to do anything. She gets to choose what she wants to do. And that's what we want, right? We want to be able to come to a point where we're able to choose the things that we want to be involved in, and not just do things that we don't want to do just because we have to do it because we need to make income or whatever. So when I saw her, I said, I would love to talk to you. So I met with her this week, and that's the reason why, or last week, late last week. And that's the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because when I met with her, she oozed of relaxation and like in a place of peace, and a place where she didn't have to rush for anything. And it was an honor to sit with her, because what I realize is that God will bring people into your life so that you can see where they are, and you're trying to get there. So you need to talk to them. It was a blessing to have an hour with her to say, to just ask her and to dig in and find out, like, how did she do it? And so there were a few things that I got from it. And so that's what I want to talk about today.
Yes, I love what you want to talk about today, because again, some of our listeners are business entrepreneurs, and you want to work smart is what you're teaching us today about what does our end game look like. I love that, because what does that look like? And it does, you do want to make it where it's simple, fun, and life is enjoyable. So just tell us even more about this.
Yeah. So last week was also a time where I was really thinking through the past couple of weeks. My birthday was just a couple of weeks ago. So I was really thinking through like what I really wanted. Like, first what I wanted in life, and also like where I was, like realistically, what I want to see happen in the next 10 years, where I want to be at the end of the 10 years. And I started to kind of like really think that through. But one of the things was I was really looking at was my business and what I'm doing, was it worth it? Right. So I'm having this conversation with her in the middle of me wondering and me creating. I created my podcast that last week was talking about that. So I'm like, is it worth it? The grind. The grind of work, the grind of what we're doing, the grind of business. the hopes that we have for ourselves, the purpose that we feel like God has given us. And when you look at your life and you may not see all the things that you want, you have to go to that internal introspection where you're really saying to yourself, is it worth it? In the end, will I be upset and unhappy with where I'm at? Or will I be excited and saying and waiting for God to say, well done, right? Okay, that's what we're basically trying to get to. And we also will look at the success of what we do based on what we can leave to our children and our children's children. What you're doing right now, Robin, is not just to be doing a radio show or and then also being on these other platforms. You want to leave it for your grandchildren and your grandchildren's children. That you're not just doing it for yourself. So you have to start to look at that. And only way to do that is to look and see, like, to know your end game, you have to know where you want to be at the end. At the end could be death, or the end could be you retiring. But where do you want to see yourself and everything? And then that in and of itself brings you back to the question, is it worth it? Because business takes time. The things that you're doing takes time. Sometimes you'll miss a recital of your grandchildren or your children because you're busy doing business. And so you have to kind of like look at that stuff. I left that there last week, and then I had the meeting with her. Then I had time to really work through it over the weekend. I had to do another podcast. And as I did that podcast, what I realized was in the podcast was that it is worth it. My life's work is to be sharing with people and telling people how to do things quicker in business, that you don't have to beat your head up against the wall in order to grow in your business. And a lot of people have to come to terms with that for themselves, that what they're doing is going to get them to the end that they're looking at, and that they've done that. So let's look at this practically. Okay. So your end game, to look at your end game and you know where you want to be at. One of the things that I had to kind of come one of the things that I had to kind of come to an idea about earlier in my business was, did I want to be a solopreneur or did I want to be a business? A solopreneur is someone is an entrepreneur, but it's someone that is not going to have many team members, probably maybe has some maybe virtual assistants or something like that, and they work by themselves. A solopreneur could be example, a real estate agent. You're not wanting to go into starting a brokerage. You're going to work for so many years. You're going to make money, and then you're going to come out of that, and then you're going to go and retire. So you can be a solopreneur, but you can also be a business. A business for a real estate agent could be actually starting a brokerage, starting a team that's going to leave a legacy behind you. You're going to leave a legacy behind you. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you want to be a solopreneur and ride out your solopreneurship, which is nothing wrong with that? Or do you want to be an actual business, small business, medium business, grow that business into a multi-global, to a global business? Where do you see yourself in the scheme of your business living beyond you, or you having a success plan after you? So I'm going to stop for a moment because you may want to jump in or whatever, but and you may have thought about this, Robin, or you may not have thought about this yet. But in the end, do you see your Robin David? Like, okay, so there's a lot of business coaches out there that have passed away, and even though they passed away, I think it's Zig Ziglar. Like Ziglar, his quotes are always out there. He has a business that's still out there, that's still going, although he's gone. So where do you see yourself, Robin?
I love that question. I actually am in that same space, and you look fabulous for Welcome to the 50 Club.
Yes.
You look fabulous. You told us happy belated birthday and congratulations to all your much success at being at this place because it comes so quickly, right? You live your life, you're hustling, you're dabbling in this, and you're doing this, and you're finding yourself. And me as well. I am in a little bit ahead of you in age. So when I say
And
that,
you know you're gorgeous. You're
oh, thank
absolutely
you.
glowing over there. Okay, so yeah.
Next, oh, thank you. The next one will be my nickel. So I definitely think about this question a lot. Thank you, Takisha, for our listeners and I to have this conversation with you. I definitely am looking at that really closer because when I want to ask you, can you help? What do you describe legacy as? Because being a Black woman, and some of my listeners are Black as well. Some of our listeners may not be, but for some of us, what does legacy mean? And that's what I had to ask myself first before I could get to the end of where I would like to see RFD, Robin F. David, my purpose, my passion, and my intentions to support my business brand after I'm gone. I had to ask myself, what does legacy mean? And I also am a part of a lot of great women's circles and learn off of women who are living in ease and grace and actually living their dreams and
Yes.
actually just talking about them, but they're living them. So I like to surround myself around people like yourself. And so I decided to think about what is legacy, Father. I asked him for that. And one of the things I remember, it comes to me when this one lady said it, it was so interesting because her mother had purchased a home in her late age, and they said, well, why would you purchase a home so late? And she said, because I always want to contribute. That's what legacy meant, and it brought on a light bulb for me, right? Because I didn't understand what did legacy mean. First, I need to know that. I'm just saying, I want to be transparent. That's who I am. I'm growing. I'm in the 50 club, and I could be a little bit behind on some things because I got in my way a lot, and that's definitely what you were saying. I think we make things a lot more harder than God has created it for us. I believe He has really given us everything real simple and easy, and it's just we get in the way and we decide that we're not worthy, or we don't deserve it, we don't have enough. All these things that we could do, sabotage. And there's been some times in my life that I have been. The old Robin was the queen of sabotage. So I asked him, I said, Father, I know that my time is valuable here and I'm on an assignment. What legacy meant when I heard that from this amazing woman as well? She was like, well, Mom said, I may be a little older, but I want to leave something that when I'm gone, that I'm contributing to my amazing children and my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. And so I think of, my grandparents migrated from the South and went Midwest, and they got jobs. They taught us to go to work hard. So I did inherit that, right? But then I also, a couple of my grandparents left some land and homes. And I thought about that. I was like, their legacy is still here. They are contributing, but how am I going to contribute, right? I got to really, really dig deep and see. And then again, you want to, at the time that we're living in now, you definitely want to spend that energy around the people like yourself who are movers and makers, right? And shakers and making things happen. And so that you can always be disturbed in your comfort and you can always feel coachable and grow. And it's challenging because I said, okay, God, I didn't realize that the golden time of my life is later. Like, right, I'm approaching that. The nickel is on the way. So you just had your birthday, looking fabulous, feeling good. I remember when 40 hit, it was 40 is fabulous, y'all. 50 is good. But I'm looking at the nickel. I'm like, oh, Father,
Wow.
I'm like less than 6 months. I'm less than 8 months away from looking at the nickel. So I definitely sit before the Lord a lot with that question as I am moving forward and following His direction as much as I feel that I can, right? So legacy for me was first I had to learn that to Keisha. And now I'm learning like how do I leave a legacy for my family and children where I'm contributing to their well-being. And definitely I would love to leave quotes. I love quotes. So my goal is that, they will remember RD for that quote. So I'm working on that because I love quotes. I do love words. That's why I have the Lord Said segment because I love words.
And then your books and all of that, all of those things.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to keep telling me, because I
No,
do
no, go
think
ahead.
I did say that I feel like my books and my writing, that's the reason I became an author. Thank you for, I didn't mean to interrupt you because you have a lot of wealth to
No.
share with us. But I believe that when my books, when I'm gone, my grandchildren will be able to know more of me and what type of life that I was displaying here on earth, because I feel like that's the written, spoken Robin F. Davis. So thank you, Takisha, for letting me
Yeah.
think about that. So go ahead and
Yeah.
share more with our listeners, because I know
Okay,
you
so
have some.
once you understand that you are inherently going to be a solopreneur or you want to be a business, okay, let me give you an example. So a solopreneur could be like a hairdresser, like a cosmetologist or whatever. So that person is constantly on their feet all day working, right? If you are a makeup artist, you're on your feet. And you can, or if you were a male and you're like you're doing like painting and stuff like that, you're on your feet. So you have to understand attrition. You have to understand that your body at some point is not necessarily going to break down, but your body, when you're on your feet constantly, that is going to affect you later. So what you do is you start to look at like, okay, so when do I really do need to retire? And when do I need to kind of like start really putting money away? Because at some point my body is going to dictate, like if I'm standing on my feet all day on a concrete, it's going to dictate what I do. So what you do is you start to look at those kind of things in order to guide you into like how long should you be working this job or working this, doing this solopreneurship or whatever, and all those kind of things. Same thing with business, but business is a little bit different. You're in your business, you're always looking for people that can be who you are so that you can start to back yourself out of the business. You want to work on the business, not in the business. You want to start to grow your business and you want your business to grow past you so that you have a succession plan, so that you have someone that is going to be your person when you leave and retire, or have things in place, reaching out to maybe an attorney or something and have things in place so that people understand what you want to happen at your with your end game. Your end game should be, for any of us, I don't care if you're a solopreneur, a business professional, or a business, small business owner, large business owner, your end game should be on a beach somewhere, relaxing yourself and enjoying your family and your friends and enjoying the things that mean a lot to you. It's not, the end game shouldn't be death. The end game should be retirement into something that you can relax into and not have to work until the end. Like that is the end game. And a lot of us don't experience that. We work hard, we work hard, we work hard, and then we never get to a place where we're able to enjoy that. So here's this lady that was sitting in front of me last week, and she was enjoying it. She came in. Okay, so I didn't have on a suit, but I had on the get up. Okay, I had on my little, try to look really nice and professional in front of her. She had on a hat. She had on like a nice little hat. She had on her like sundress. And I'm like looking at her oh my goodness. Like, oh my goodness. Like I was sitting in front of, if I'm going to take the time to build what I call this kingdom, and all of the trappings of sometimes exhaustion and being by myself, and all the different things that happen with business, that happen in business, it for me to feel like it's worth it is not to prepare for my death. Like before, I used to look at things, and this is coming from the Lord. It's not to prepare for my death so that when I die, I leave something. It is to prepare for my retirement so that I can have a life before I die. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I can enjoy my life and get to a place where I can do the things that I want to do when I want to do them and how I want to do them, and that I can just relax. Like the vision of her was stopped me, and I'm saying this for the first time, and I'm just getting this download. It was not to prepare me for death, but to prepare me for a life of retirement, that I could somewhat control my narrative. I wouldn't have to be worrying about the finances that I need, that I could own my house, that I could then pass my business on to someone else or sell my business. Like, we talked a little bit about like what it would look like if I wanted to, like, there are options. I can either, create a succession plan and leave that business there, or I can sell that business. Like, there are options out there for me. And it's not to die, it is to live beyond business. And so we have to get to the place where we're looking at the end to then understand how we position ourselves for this beginning and what we're doing.
I keep hearing the word "the end" from you, Takisha. Great. We had a comment to one of
Oh
the
yeah.
viewers. It's a great topic, and she said you might want to see that. She was saying a fact that she had studied
Okay.
about
She
black
said,
households,
you want
and
to, can I read that out loud? Okay, so a study in 2017, I believe, stated by 2053, Black households will have a median wealth of zero. Oh my gosh. Okay, don't make me cry out here. Okay, building legacy and generational wealth is very timely to talk about. Great topic. It is because at the end of the day, if you're a solopreneur or you're a business owner, um, or an entrepreneur that has multiple businesses, the goal is to leave financial wealth at the end of the day. If you're going to spend 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, sometimes 60 to 70 hours a week building a business or building your solopreneurship, you better it for it to be worth it, you need to leave something, and not just words. Leave something that can impact a household. I was laying there in the bed the other day, and I was just talking to the Lord. And I said, there are two things when wealth comes, there are two things that are on my mind that I want to contribute. Okay, so these are the two things that I wanted to contribute. One thing that I really wanted to contribute is um, there are single mothers out there that have they've gone to college. They have they don't have a lot of support, and they have two or three kids, and I want to be able to help them pay off their student loans. We get into a lot of debt. I have a lot of debt in student loans, and then we have to pay that back. So for those people who have like master's degrees and things like that, and they owe hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they probably will never see that $100,000 go anywhere because they're paying on it every month. I want to wipe that away and say, honey, here's your $100,000. Go and pay that off and go and be one. Go and do your thing. Like, just take that pressure off of them to have to pay it back. So that's number one. And then number two is, I know that I am a financier of kingdom work, and I want to help kingdom people build wealth. That is a call that's on my life. And so I was sitting there in bed talking to the Lord and saying, yeah, these are the things that are near and dear to my heart, and the things that I want to finance while I'm here on earth or whatever. So I can't do that if I don't get there. Right.
that's
Um,
right.
and so I have to get there, and we all have to get there. And it starts with starting with your end game. And your end game is not death. Your end game, what we're basically trying to say is that your end game is not death. Your end game is life, an abundant life, and living that life and being able to share that wealth of knowledge, understanding, and finances with everyone that you can.
I love where your intentions are, and I believe we definitely need that, especially as women and people are that is stuck in that the system has made
Mhm.
it so unfortunate, so expensive to get degrees and educations, and then you got to pay it off before you start earning
Yeah.
money. I've been around a lot of amazing people who have been stuck in that place, and it's just that's hanging on them that that paying the school back and the loan back, and then finding the job that really uh, values them or worthy them or pay them for their value, right? Or their worth, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then I got to thinking when you were saying the end. Sometimes I do listen to when people create movies. I think sometimes they start at the end of the movie. The developers and
Mm-hmm.
producers start with the end. They know what the end is going to be like, and then they kind of start working from the end. And I like that because I feel like if you have this vision, dream, go, and it's at the end when you start making those small adjustments in your everyday life and maximizing your everyday to look towards the for the end purpose. I love the concept of what you're saying here tonight because the end is the beginning. I believe that the end is
It
the
really
beginning.
is.
I believe the end is beginning because I feel like now that I am matured and maturing in age and spiritual wisdom, that there's a spiritual answer for everything. And I think that's the main thing that you're saying to the Father when you sit with Him. It's like I know there's a spiritual concept that you're willing to share with me that I can have that intentions to
Mm-hmm.
be the one, to be the Rockefeller of my
Mm-hmm.
family, right? To be that
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt in your family, right? To leave that whole financial thing where, if he did it for the Rockefellers, he can do it for you. If he did it for the Vanderbilts, he can do it for you, right? So I agree with you. I think we all possess that inner wealth that, I was like, okay, God, you supply all of our needs. I know I was talking to someone the other day and it was like, well, it's not just some things, but everything, right? Like
Yes.
down to the
Yes.
small things to everything, and it comes to a place just really learning how to trust that wisdom, getting to the end place, living life in the fullness of life and all that it offers us. So I think it's a really great time to talk about that because I feel like a lot of time people don't have their end vision. And then, like I said, choosing your body does tell you. I do know that the body tells you that it's time to let certain things go,
Yeah.
and your body is a clock, and it's saying, "Hey, you've done
Mm-hmm.
this so many years. I am by trade, I am a licensed nail tech. So I've been in the industry for a while, and I understand that so heartily that it's important to have that in. I think we have another comment. Let me check
Okay,
this.
good. Yeah, this is good.
Let's see here. Let's see what our comment came in says. Do you want to read it?
Yes. Okay. So it's a very motivating conversation to reflect on what we desire our life work to be. Haven't always thought of it that way. Yeah. It. This is. I honestly would say this has like been happening for the last 2 weeks for me. It wasn't until we just had our conversation. I'm going to have to look at this a couple of times as we get off of this that I realized that what I'm searching for is not for death, but and what's going to happen at that time. That will take care of itself. I will, we will make sure that that takes care of itself,
Mhm,
but that we are able to not work until death, that
mhm,
we have time to relax and enjoy life and enjoy it to the full. There's this idea, and it's called Zoe, the fullness of life. And
mhm,
um, toiling all day and toiling your entire life and not having a break to enjoy life and have your situation set up that you can enjoy life. It would be hard for me now that I think about it. Like I said before that, and I've said this before, that it would be hard for me to die and then my business not live beyond me. No, it would be absolutely hard for me to not be able to actually retire and have some enjoyment of life. Like, to look back and say, wow, look what we accomplished. Look what we did. Wow, this is what I do get to leave this. Wow, I get to also dictate and decide what charitable organizations I want to assist, what I want to do and not have to worry about the financial seed that has to go along with that. I've done the work, the money and the blessings and the abundance is here because I looked forward to say, this is what I want to see. And now that I've looked forward and we're talking about legacy and we know what we want to leave, that there's all this time in between. And what we do matters. When we do it matters. How we do it matters. And so the first thing is to come to grips with what type of business, if you're a business owner, and that's what your focus is to figure out what that looks like. And then if that looks like you're being a solopreneur, you need to shave off time because your body, if you're standing on a concrete floor for hours, your body starts to dwindle down, your knees, your feet, all of those things are affected. And so taking that into account, you may want to stop 10 years earlier than that. Now, on the other side of it is the business owner who's sitting on their butts all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there are things that we need to take care of, or whatever. But it is kind of like looking at yourself, and then beyond those two things that I just talked about, then taking a step further and saying, okay, this is how I need to save. If I haven't been saving, I have 10 years to catch up. How am I going to do that? What things do I need to have in place? I can't just dream it or try to do it that way. I have to really put my nose to the grind and think through how I can set myself up for success.
That is true. And that's when I believe some of our guests will need to reach out to you. You're an
Yes,
expert.
and then also a business, like, I mean, obviously you as well. Like, I mean, health and wellness, understanding the different things that need to happen or whatever. That is definitely you. I mean, if you wanting to kind of like go a little bit beyond, a financial planner helping you with finances and all that kind of things and saying, okay, I'm behind schedule. How do I catch up? What do I literally need to do in order to do that? Like getting, I call them your partners or your team around you, that you're looking at your health, you're looking at your wellness, you're looking at your finances, you're looking at all the things. I am looking at that as a business, the things that I need to have in place as I am wanting to step out and do more things or whatever. I'm like, I've looked at my team and I've already decided who's going to be my successor when I leave. That's important for me to know who that person is, like, and start grooming that person to be, not to be me, but to be somewhat of who I am and everything, and what I hold dear for this business.
Absolutely. I think those things are very important to look at the whole you, right? Look at the whole you mentally, financially, physically, spiritually. That is the whole component to who you are. And I think that sometimes I had this conversation with the Lord myself. I was like, I think sometimes life is, He's made it simple for us and we kind of complicate it. I feel like some of the things we do without the guidance of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit leading us. But then I also think that life, sometimes because we get in that rat race and we think it is just go for the money for the day and it pays for the right now. We're not at that place where that life should be enjoyable. I have a friend, I just recently was sharing that, just recently having this conversation with someone who's a little bit more mature in age than me. Now, this person ain't broke, but this person is broke when it comes to living life, right? What I mean is they have homes, they have land, they are working, they're working. I was just telling them that. I was like, it's like I said, because of the old school teaching, I believe it was like, you work until you retire. That was something, if you're in the club where we are, back in the day, that was the thing. They wanted to get a good job and then they did 30 years and they gave themselves a pat on the back because they finished 30 years. That was we never enjoyed. You're saying to us that you were created to have the fullness of life, the abundance of life.
I'm studying that right now. And that is a scripture, Ephesians 3:19, that's near and dear to my heart right now, 19 through 21. And I'm studying what that means to have the fullness of life. That is, we already have the fullness of God when we accepted Jesus Christ, but the fullness is all the different things that he has out there for us. And he doesn't, I mean, we should prepare for at some point that we're going to die. But while we're living, he wants us. This lady had on her hat. Okay, I came in like probably similar to what how I'm dressed now.
You
She
look
came in
fabulous,
with her
girl.
hat on. Let me tell you something, Robin. She came in with her hat on and her like flowing like dress or whatever. She had on this little yellow dress, no makeup, no, just glowing. Do you hear me? Glowing. And I'm talking to her and I'm saying, wow. And then, you know, just as it is, you don't get the fullness of what you're doing when you're whatever. When I met her, I didn't get the fullness, but I knew I needed to talk to her. When I talked to her and I left, I knew that I pretty much knew that I hadn't gotten everything. And it wasn't until today that it really sprung up in my heart and soul what this was for. This was not to prepare for that. For the end game is not death. The end game is the fullness of life. It is being able to walk and talk on your own, not having to like carry something around with you to go with you. It is being able to go out there and do what you want to do with your time, money, and resources. It is to be able to give to your family and to bless them and to do all those things while you're here. Yes, it's amazing and wonderful to bless them while you're gone. But how about blessing them when you can see the blessing on them? Okay, I feel the presence of the Holy Ghost, and I was not coming to talk about this, but what about that? When you are able to bless people and see that on them while you're here, that is what the end game is.
I love it. I love it. The end game is truly that. Truly, this week, well, at service this week, I have my pastor is in that space because that's when he teaches us prosperity, the fullness of
The
prosperity.
fullness.
And you know, they get ridiculed about that. But I was telling my friend because my pastor is Jewel Tankard and Ben Tankard, and I go to Destiny Center. And one of the things I remember, like, uh, Pastor was saying, I was telling my girlfriend that because I just got a girlfriend came in from, she's a flight attendant. She flew in Nashville, and I got the opportunity to hang out with her. We were talking something about this too, because she's making her steps to be, you know, enjoying life more as well. And she's in the club with us. And so we were talking about that. And she started a new career path later in life as well. And I think about that because I remember Pastor would say, you know, we get talked about being the church, and you know, we talk about wealth and money and prosperity, but 9 out of 10 of the problems most people come to our pastors is about 9 out of 10 of the reasons marriages are divorced is because of finances. And so it's
Yeah.
really something that we all, before we get in the club, which is a fabulous club. I'm grateful
Mhm.
to be here. I'm very grateful to have made it to C54. But then I also realized, you know, wow, if I could have knew some of this stuff before, God, you know, this is what you meant, the fullness of life. I would have probably could have, but you know, we can't use shoulda, coulda. But today, God, I tell him every day, teach me to maximize today. Let me
Yes.
get, let me get,
Mhm.
you know, more savvy about different financial. So I am in the Millionaires Club. Dr. Jewel has the Millionaires Club. I joined that this year. I'm just putting it out there, people, because I
Mhm.
wanted to be in the Millionaires Club. Dr. Jewel started the Millionaires Club maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And it's every 2 weeks I get to zoom in with women like you and I all over the world who have been in the Millionaires Club, and they are literally, they just came back from a wonderful full life tanker. They do it once a year. Dr. Jewel take all the women who are in the investment club. It's like an investment club. And back some years ago, I had gotten an investment club, but I was so young. I didn't understand that finances is truly the piece of creating and co-creating with God and being able to walk in that fullness that His Word has taught us, that we are living life and living life for abundance.
Yeah.
When I bring that all up, I was talking to the one friend who was challenged with, wonderful person. I told them, but at their age, I'm like, you still talking about you working? You can't do this. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I feel for that person because I'm like, that, I know you got the old school, and we are unlearning some things, right? We're unlearning some things. I know my grandmother's 94, and I remember her telling me, one of my uncles was a minister, and she told me, she was like, well, she loved her son ministering to her, because he brought enlightenment to her. She said, because Robin, my pastors, they taught us, but they just didn't know. They just didn't know. You see, we just didn't know. And she said, and that stayed with me. I said, Grandma, because she felt like my uncle ministering to her was like some more enlightenment for her. She was like, and she became more alive with the word, because it's like, well, I didn't see it that way, right? So I believe we do have some unlearning, because, like I said, this person and most of us intend to have life, but we are on the rat race. We're on the rat race. We're unhappy. We're saying yes to jobs that we don't like to clock in on every day, and we're not putting our money where it belongs. That's another thing. When I brought up stocks and stuff, I had that. I believe that God brings us answers way in our face, and then we tend to be like, oh no, I don't. That's what Dr. Jewel talks about, because she always teaches about the new money. Finances is just her anointings, right? Everybody have their anointings, right? So that's the thing. Like, the money just easily come to her, right? And because she understands the intentions of it. I found that money comes to you when you understand the intentions of what you need to be doing with money, right? And when you get that wisdom, it's not just to get the red bottom shoes, you know what I'm saying? And I like red bottoms. I hope to have some one day. But it's not just to get the money for the red bottoms. You are saying it, to live, as Ephesians said, to live a full, abundant life. And
Abundant life.
the reason I brought up my pastor,
And to be able to see that. Many of us are not able to see that. And so being able to be present with it, to experience it, to enjoy it, and then to pass it on to your family and friends, there's nothing like that in the world, to be able to do that, to be able to really see the blessing of your hands. Most of us do not have a chance to do that.
I apologize for interrupting. Yes, I agree with you. One of the viewers said they love that about you saying, bless them while we're here. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That is truly, that's when I said your intentions of your money is to bless the people, that your intentions to bless the family, your friends, your organizations. Absolutely. I believe that is what the currency is for, and the wealth is intended. And again, I'm with you. I'm sitting there waiting. I'm listening and hearing, like, how do the end game so that he will get the honor, kingdom business, not just I was just out here on the rat race and just rat racing it every day, but kingdom business is actually getting done, and he'll get the honor and glory for that. And that's the reason I brought my pastor, because he was saying, we do have a lot going on in the world, but you got to get you like 2 good scriptures this week, and like you said, just get it in you, get the wealth scriptures in you. Understand that there is a spiritual warfare that we are in, but you can also overcome it by applying the word to your finances. I used to, my pastor would always say, speak to your bank account more than once a day, and I was like, I ain't gonna do that. But then I started saying money in my bank account, and you start having to really be in agreement with the word. Like, be in agreement in your mouth and in your thoughts and in your heart. I think that's an alignment that I feel like kingdom business is about, being in alignment with your heart, telling your own self, I agree that I'm worthy to be abundantly blessed, right? Agree with the kingdom principles, and so that you can be that here on earth. That is what I feel like the end game for most of us can be. So I'm with you. I'm excited that you brought this up because every show I have with you, I go home and then I'll listen to it again because I always listen to the show over and I always get those nuggets. And I'll be like, that was a really great thing you said there. So tell us some more about the end game.
Okay, so I guess lastly, because I know that we're almost at the end here, what I would say is that again, you want to have your partners, you want to have the people around you that can help you with the end game. One thing is for you to really sit down and really think about, the partner is God. I mean, you co-labor with God. And so God has a vision for what he believes your life is, where you're supposed to be going, what you're supposed to be doing, and what that end looks like. And so you need to obviously tap into that part of your life. Once you do that and you kind of know what your legacy, what you were talking about, Robin, what the legacy is going to be, then your next step is really to kind of like think through, like, again, who do you want to be? You're going to either work for someone or you're going to work for yourself. There's nothing wrong with working for someone. Okay. There are people who retire every day that work for someone and they make money. Then there's and they also leave something behind. And then there's the solopreneur that's out there that just understanding your body and your body of work and what you do, you need to start thinking about what that looks like. And then you have your business. Like, do you have the things in place that will afford you to be able to grow your business and leave something? But it's more so than anything is whatever age you are, this is the beginning. This is the day. This is the first day of the rest of your life. It is the every day. His mercies are new every day. What he brings in is new every day. So today is your day for you to join and co-labor with him. Figure out where you are, where your journey is going to be at, and then start the process of figuring out what do you need to do in order to get to a place that you can retire. And then when you retire, what you're looking for is a place that you can then be philanthropic, however you want to. Like, you'll be able to give and to also share your wisdom, share your contribution, share your resources, and share is what you want to get to and where you want to be at. And that is for anybody. If you are if you work for someone, a solopreneur, entrepreneur, business owner, that's where you want to get to so that you can enjoy life and share and see people being blessed by you being able to bless them.
I love it. I love it. We are getting close to the end of the time here.
Mhm.
Will you let everyone know how they can contact you and
Mm.
reach you for more of your support and consultation?
Okay. So the best way to get me in, and also on the website, Girl Friday, businesssolutions.com. If you were to go to girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com or to keishabromell.com, but on girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com, which is my business, that website has it has a place for you to actually to get a 30-minute consultation with me. So you can do a 30-minute consultation with me from going to that website. And then my email address is Takisha at girlfridaybusinesssolutions.com. So the same thing goes, but you can really just enter it onto the Girl Friday website and you'll find me there.
Takisha, it's always a delight to have you here on the RFD Talk.
It
We
is.
really learn a lot from you. You're an amazing rock woman that's rocking here in Nashville,
Mhm.
and across the country. And I know your capacity is growing daily, and I'm so honored to have had you this evening. Do you have any upcoming things that you would like for our listeners to know that you might want us to know coming up in the month of June and July? You have
You
anything?
know what? Actually, we do have some things, but we're still working on it. But the biggest thing is, like, I am starting a women's ministry. It's called the More Movement, and that is coming in the next couple of months. And I'm pretty sure I'll probably maybe on the show again sharing that information as well. So right now, if you could just be in prayer, it is about the fullness of life. It is about Zoe,
Mm,
full of life, and being able to experience God in all that capacity. Can you imagine being able to say that you are experiencing all of those things? And we barely barely touch the surface on what God has for us.
Wow, I really think that's going to be exciting. Congratulations to your
Thank you.
uh, uh, upcoming events and functions and programs that you're going to be offering us. The
Yeah.
world is excited and cannot wait to live in our Zoe life. Our Zoe.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I really felt that. I'm excited for you. I'm here to support you any way you can.
Thank
Please,
you.
anytime you like to come back to the RFD Talk, we are always going to be here for you. So thank you for everything you've done
Thank
with
you.
tonight. You are the best, girl.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
The old way of living with diabetes is a
Hey,
pain.
so are we off now?
Testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your
Good
blood
night,
sugar.
everyone. And I am Robin F. David, inspiring you to embrace, love, and nurture yourself as you do unto others. Good night. Next week, I'll see you then, guys. Love you.